Srimati Lata Mangeshkar, who is a distinguished citizen of Goa. She was a Bharat Ratna awardee and deserved much more. And the people of India gave her an abundance, their love and affection. We are very, very sad that she passed away. Later in the day, the Goa Pradesh Congress Committee's executive and leaders will formally meet to pass a formal condolence resolution. But I wish to begin this press conference by expressing our deep sadness and grief on the passing away of Srimati Lata Mangeshkar. Next, I wish to announce that Srimati Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will visit Goa tomorrow. Her program will be distributed to you shortly. She will address meetings in 4 constituencies. She will do a house-to-house campaign in Panjim, and she will interact with various groups during the day. The 4 constituencies that she will visit and address meetings are Nuvem, Nevelim, Santa Cruz, and Kumbarjua. House-to-house campaign is in Panaji, and she will meet a number of groups of women and others at various points. Her program is a one-day program, and we request you to cover the program extensively. The main purpose of this press conference is to speak more on the manifesto. The manifesto was released by Shri Rahul Gandhi day before yesterday, and I'm grateful that many of you covered it extensively. But there are many, many fine points in the manifesto which we want to highlight. And we want the message to reach the people of Goa. It's not a simple manifesto. It's more a vision for Goa up to 2035. It's a much broader than a much broader than a manifesto. Much broader than a manifesto. It's a manifesto for 5 years, but it outlines a vision up to 2035. We will make a brief presentation of the highlights of the manifesto. A soft copy of the presentation will be distributed to you. If anybody wants a hard copy, that hard copy is also available. You can take a hard copy of the presentation, which culls out the highlights of the manifesto. But I will now pause for the presentation, and after the presentation, we'll take some questions. My friend, Mr. Ramakant Kalap, who is the chairman of the Manifesto Committee, is with me here. Mr. Dinesh Gundurao, AICC in charge of Goa. Mr. Girish Chodankar, PCC President, Ms. Alka Lamba, are all here, and we will take questions. But first, the presentation. Yes.
So this, am I coming?
Yeah.
Am I blocking the screen or am I visible?
Yeah, it's okay. Just turn to your
Turn
right.
around a bit.
That's it.
The manifesto, when we went about it, we interacted with the public, we interacted with NGOs and civil society. We got more than 500 unique suggestions, which we compiled, and we selected the assurances what are presented based on their based on how they fit well with our vision 2035. Most of it has been incorporated in this document, but our vision 2035 has 7 pillars as a framework, and we use that framework to prepare this roadmap for the next 5 years. I will go through the 7 pillars first. So they include Suramya Goa, that is serene Goa, where we emphasize the protection of the environment, the coastlines, the water bodies. Waste disposal is a priority to us, and of course, air and water pollution. This is important because our tourism and our identity is linked to the environment. So a lot of our assurances and policies, which is in the document, is focused on this. Similarly, Susankrit Goa, that is cultured Goa, is another focus, is another pillar where we commit to protect the heritage, tradition and art and culture of Goa. We commit to implementation of Atithi Deva Bhava policy, which is we want quality tourists to come to Goa, and therefore we are going to work at making this state an attractive state for tourism. Our commitment to uphold the dignity of women, senior citizens and children. There are several policies and action plans that we have listed, including having a women police, having surveillance, all for the protection of the women and senior citizens and children, given the kind of crime rates that we have seen in the recent past. Our commitment to the preserve the unity in diversity practiced through various festivals across religions, and a commitment to commemorate historic events and personalities who have shaped the future of Goa. I don't want to go into the details of why these suggestions came to us. Everybody knows what is happening, and therefore this was an important, these were important points that we had to incorporate. Then Santulit Goa, that is balanced Goa, where we have listed our promises, which include policies to promote equitable development all across the state. Equitable is very important, given that when the current government talks about development, it is infrastructure meant for a few or meant for certain lobbies. So our focus area is that whatever development is happening, it should be equitable across the state, across various groups. Then policies to provide job opportunities to deserving candidates from all across the state, especially the youth. I hope all of you will understand what is this referring to, given the last month or the last 2 months, what we have seen and how jobs have gone to certain constituencies. So this has come from the youth, especially, that it should be, the opportunity should be available for all. We have policies to uplift and promote OBC, ST, SC communities all across the state, and implement the reservation policy in toto. That is a demand that has come from a lot of groups. Policies for inclusiveness of persons living with disabilities and economically weaker section. We have given particular focus on people with disabilities, given that most of the infrastructure and facilities cannot be accessed by these groups. Suvidya Goa, that is knowledge-centric, enlightened Goa, where we guarantee free education to the poor and deserving students up till graduation, and besides free skill-oriented training. We want our youth to be employable based on the industry needs, the current industry needs. We are going to set up education clusters with state-of-the-art technology infrastructure. Internet connectivity is a priority to us. We want internet connectivity right up to Panchayat and in every educational institution. We are going to provide education gadgets like smartphones and laptops for students. Education institutions will be given support to upgrade their infrastructure. Right now, what is shown is a few schools. Earlier, our policies, whether it's RUSA or any other policy, was equitable across institutions. We would not just put a photo of one institution and show it as our achievement for in education. Samruddh Goa, that is affluent Goa. Here, we want to promote the state as an education center, information technology center, biotechnology center, and pharmaceutical research center, to give a progressive direction to Goa's image and economy and attract huge investment and employment opportunities. Our Nyay scheme is a flagship scheme, which it's a big topic in itself, but we are not going to go into the details here. But it is assured that every poor family will get a monthly sum of 6,000 rupees for their domestic expenditure. The protection and promotion of traditional Goan occupations such as toddy tapping, fishing, carpentry, bakery, pottery, chanekar, kankonkar, khajikar, traditional farmers, etc. We will focus on that and make them economically viable. Job opportunities through sound tourism policies will be a focus. Sustainable mining will be one of our job creation industries, and development of commerce, trade and industry. Filling up of vacant government posts, including reserve posts within first 6 months is one suggestion we had got across the board, and we intend to implement it. Regularization and confirmation of all contract government employees and daily wage with more than 5 years service. We don't want any group to go and protest asking for regularization of jobs who have spent years serving the government and doing their job. Susashit Goa, well-governed Goa. We want to strengthen the Panchayat Raj Act and also empower the municipalities. We have seen how panchayats and municipalities has systematically been degraded and disempowered over time, and we want to make sure that they become mini republics like how Gandhi envisaged. Commitment to provide time-bound delivery of public services to citizens and address grievance. We know that time-bound act is in place but is not being implemented. Effective implementation of RTI Act, commitment to safety and security of citizens through police and judicial reforms and effective surveillance system, and commitment to strengthening the anti-corruption agency and the Lokayukta. These are our commitments in the area of governance. Then Swanandi Goa, that is healthy Goa. We see that the government is promoting, is saying that they have spent so much lakhs on people for health in the case of in the health sector by giving health insurance. But those are all operations. We intend so that people don't reach a stage where they have to be operated. And for that, we need to provide them free testing and free pre-treatment services so that disease can be identified early, so that they don't reach a stage where they have to be operated, undergo very expensive operations. So free preventive health care which will include annual checkup, diagnostic testing, counseling, will be a part of our health cover. Besides that, physiotherapy, mental health and medicines will also be covered under the health scheme. 118 services will be accessible through the mobile app. We know that when we call an ambulance, we don't know where it has reached, how long it will take. So all ambulances will be tracked like how these taxi apps are there. Autonomy of Goa Medical College and increase in the number of medical seats at MBBS and postgraduate level. We'll be doing this as well. North and South Goa District Hospital will be elevated to super specialty facilities. We know that this South Goa Hospital had to be opened only because of COVID, otherwise it would not been opened at all. But we want to make sure that whether it's from North or South, coming to GMC is the very, very last resort. All facilities should be available at the North Goa and South Goa hospitals itself. And all primary health centers, urban health centers, sub-health centers, government dispensary clinics shall be provided with modern amenities for timely treatment. You know, a lot of other parties are promoting these mohalla clinics and all, which are good for certain things, but over here we have already a good system in place which was started by the Congress government, and the only thing they need is upgradation of their infrastructure, and we'll be doing that. Now, besides these 7 pillars, which are a summary of the direction which we are heading, there are individual chapters, 30 individual chapters, which have details of different promises, assurances and policies that we'll be doing in the next 5 years as a part of our overall roadmap for 2035, overall vision for 2035, which the last Congress government under Chidambaram Kamath had created. And we hope you go through all of them. We have summarized a few. There are many in the list. Can you see the first one?
Which one? You want this?
Which includes financial help to self-help groups, obviously 16B, 3 linear projects, then the nationalization of rivers. All of that we will work towards reverting, because that has been a unanimous demand. We have a policy for seafarers. We are very clear on a fight to get back our Madai river, and we will not allow any of the water to be diverted to any other basin. So So like that, there is a whole list of it. Each one is addressing big issues that in the last 5 years we have seen. So we hope that you all highlight all of these as much as you can, so that people know how serious we are and that we are the only party that has a vision. We don't just give doles or freebies like how the Supreme Court has raised recently. But we have created over a matter of months well-crafted policies and assurances that are practical and pragmatic to implement in the next 5 years.
Thank you. Now, in addition to the manifesto released by the Goa Pradesh Congress Committee, we have encouraged individual candidates to publish a brief local manifesto specifying, say, 5 or 6 promises to the local electorate and which they will implement. This is an example of what the Dabolim candidate has done, and we are encouraging all candidates to publish their local manifesto so that the local issues will get highlighted. Yesterday, you know that the students released their manifesto, and I think this is the correct thing. The next generation should make their demands. We promise what we can deliver, but they demand what they aspire to. I think both go together very well, and I'm very happy that the students released their manifesto. Now we can take some questions on the manifesto. One of us will answer.
Are you promising any?
No. Just a minute.
The chairman of
Kalap will make some statements.
We have already paid our tributes to Gana Kokira Lata Mangeshkar, also known as the Nightingale of India. India sang through her, and we Goans are particularly proud that this land produced a gem like Lata Mangeshkar. So today, when we are in the midst of this election propaganda and release of this manifesto and all, this news has come as a shocker to us, and we express our deep sense of sorrow at the passing away of Lata Mangeshkar. Having said this, the main features of our manifesto have been explained to you. Our leader, Shri Chidambaram ji, he has also addressed to you on the major issues. And we have made a small, succinct sort of a, or rather we can call it a précis of this voluminous document that we prepared over a period of time. And these are also, this also will be circulated to you. These are the 7 points basically which have been now highlighted. And I request you all to, as you have been always been supporting the cause of the people and the Congress Party's cause, because we are for the people ourselves. And if this goes to the public, I'm sure the effectiveness with which our party has worked so far and intends to work in future will be properly highlighted. Thank you so much.
फक्त प्रियंका गांधीच्या प्रोग्रामाचे नाव आम्ही दवरलां जैत. Is Congress promising anything for reducing petrol prices?
Yes. Yeah. We have said that we'll keep the price to ₹80 per litre. To that extent, we will be taking care of the local taxes, VAT and other things, and see to it that the price does not, the consumer does not get it, doesn't have to pay more than 80 rupees a litre. This has been promised in this.
सर, गेल्या 2 वर्षापासून गोव्यात स्वयंपूर्ण योजना गाजते. जे मुख्यमंत्री असतील किंवा भाजप सरकार असेल, निवडणुकीत सुद्धा त्यांनी स्वयंपूर्ण गोवा हीच कन्सेप्ट मांडलेली आहे. काँग्रेसने तयार केलेला जाहीरनामा हा स्वयंपूर्ण गोव्यापर्यंत पोहोचतो का?
होय, त्याच्याही पलीकडे जातो. आम्ही जो तयार केला आहे हा 2035 पर्यंतचं विजन आहे. उद्या 5 वर्ष किंवा 4 वर्ष आम्ही इथं काम करू, सरकार स्थापन करू आणि बाय बाय करू असा प्रश्न नाही आहे. आम्ही जी काही सुरुवात करू, जी बुनियाद आम्ही आज घालणार आहोत, तिचा फायदा 2035 पर्यंत आपल्याला होणार आहे. आणि हा मॅनिफेस्टो जाहीर करून आम्ही थांबत नाही आहोत. दर 6 महिन्यानंतर आढावा घेतला जाईल. ज्या जे प्रॉमिसेस आम्ही दिले त्या प्रॉमिसेसची अंमलबजावणी होती की नाही यासाठी आम्ही डोळ्यात तेल घालून त्या संदर्भात काम करणार आहोत आणि जनतेला आश्वासन देत आहोत की हा डॉक्युमेंट फक्त डॉक्युमेंट म्हणून लायब्ररीमध्ये धूळ खात पडणार नाही. वी शॅल इम्प्लिमेंट दिस विल बी एन इम्प्लिमेंटेबल डॉक्युमेंट अँड थिंग्स वी आर प्रॉमिस विल रिअली मेक गोवा इन एव्हरी सेन्स. ज्या 7 कलमं दिलेली आहेत त्यात स्वयंशासित आहे आणि सगळ्यात महत्त्वाचं स्वानंदी गोवा हा शब्दप्रयोग खूपच महत्त्वाचा आहे. गोवेकर हा आनंदी झाला पाहिजे. कुठल्याही प्रकारचं त्याला असमाधान त्याच्यामध्ये असता कामा नये, कुठलाही अन्याय त्यावरती होता कामा नये. यासाठी ह्या डॉक्युमेंटमध्ये सगळी काही काळजी घेण्यात आलेली आहे. मला वाटतं आपल्या प्रश्नाचं उत्तर आपल्याला.
So a lot of government has given this, BJP has given free water. Aam Aadmi Party came with this electricity and so many other things. But what
We are going to the basics of these needs of Goans. We shall see to it that the first and foremost, we should make water available. Today when the BJP has gone to elections now, there are agitations on the streets. For days and days together, there is not a drop of water available in many places in Goa. Let's first do that. Our nyay, that the word NYAY, nyay that has been used here, is a concept which will take of every need of poor people. At least the 20% of the Goan population below the certain income level. Each one of them will get everything. Will get water, will get power, will get cheap fuel, employment, agriculture will be developed, trade, commerce will be developed, clusters of educational institutions will be set up, skill orientation will be there. So that is why Swanandi, Santulit आणि श्रीमंत अशा स्वरूपाचा गोवा, this is the vision that we have and that has been shown in this document.
I'll just answer that question also. See, a lot of these things have to be given thought. Aam Aadmi Party gave that free water in Delhi. People used to get 400 bill, today are getting 800. So what they do is, they take 20,000 liters free of cost and then they have done bore wells where they take the remaining water from there to have the free water. The result is Delhi today has become the number 1 city for groundwater depletion. And so much so, there are scientific studies which show that Delhi is sinking as a result of that. So it sounds good on paper, those schemes, but they can have unintended consequences which we have to take care of, and that's why we took so much of time drafting it.
So what about the Grahadar and Ladli Lakshmi scheme? Congress will be increasing the same?
See, we are committed to the welfare of Goan people. You call it Ladli Lakshmi, you give it any other name. In fact, many of these schemes were already implemented by the Congress in the past. The BJP just gave them a new label, put them in some bottle and says here it is something new. It's not so. These yojanas or these schemes were initiated by the Congress party, implemented by us. They got opportunity from 2012 till now, 10 years they got. So they could tom-tom those ideas.
I've seen the casino and gambling of the What is the kind of casino?
Yeah. Now see, we already have this issue. Goa is saddled with this issue of casinos. Mandavi, you have seen what has happened. We are going to take a very holistic approach to this entire thing. It is not possible to just throw them out in the sea immediately. But a gaming commission, a regulatory body will be put into place, and we shall see to it that our Goans are particularly protected from the vice of gambling, vice of drugs, vice of liquor, and all sort of things that have been today prevalent in Goa everywhere for asking. So we are absolutely concerned with these issues and appropriate steps have been taken. I don't say they will be in the Mandavi, but what I said is the whole thing will have to be examined in a proper fashion. From 2012 till today, this menace has been created. Overnight, you can't just nip it in the bud like that.
Just want to clarify that one issue that you raised about the Ladli Lakshmi and all. We are aware that on the ground, a lot of misinformation has been spread by BJP that if Congress comes to power, these schemes will stop. So we want to assure the people of Goa, as our chairman Ramakant Kalabji already has said, that we want to help people, especially downtrodden. So none of such schemes which BJP has done only for selected people, we will be, ours will be continue with the more inclusive in nature. So people should not afraid and they should not believe in what misinformation BJP people are spreading about it.
गिरीजी काँग्रेस यावेळी नवीन चेहऱ्यांना घेऊन निवडणूक लढवते कितपत यश मिळेल असं वाटतं
नाही, जसं डिमांड होतं लोकांकडून की नवीन चेहरे आणा, यंग फेसेस आणा, आम्ही प्रयत्न केला एकदम आणि जवळजवळ आम्ही 70% म्हटले होते आणि आता जर बघितलं तर आमचे 37 कॅन्डिडेट्स जे आम्ही अनाऊन्स केलेले आहेत त्यामध्ये फक्त 6च एक्स MLAs नाही तर प्रेझेंट MLAs आहेत. Nearly 31 candidates are fresh and they are new, which include 2 women and 2 ST candidates. We have, it's like inclusive. We have tried to balance everything in this list. And as per the wishes of the people, we have given the young and new faces. Now it is up to the people of Goa. We have offered what people are expecting the Congress to do. We have exactly done that. आता पुढचं आहे ते लोकांकडे.
किती जागा मिळण्याची शक्यता आहे?
ते मशीन आमच्याकडे अजून आलेलं नाही, ते भाजपकडे आहे. एक्झॅक्ट मशीन नंबर प्रेस करून येतो ते, पण आम्हाला गोव्याच्या लोकांवर विश्वास आहे आणि आम्ही जे गोंयकार सांगतात ती वाट धरलेली आसा. गोंयकार सांगतात तसो बदल आमचे भितरूय केल्लो आसा आणि ज्या तरेन फीडबॅक मेळटा लोकां कडल्यान, ज्या तरेन वेगळे वेगळे सर्वेचे रिपोर्ट्स मेळटात, आमकां लोकांचेर विश्वास आसा की लोक आमकां 24 ते 26 सीट नक्कीच दितले. कदाचित ज्या तरेन एक वारें जावपा लागलां की BJP गोंयांक एक सामकी अशी डिफीट येतली, म्हणजे ओरिजिनल जे आशिल्ले तेंगेले 4 त्या 4 आंकड्यांचेर ते पावपाक शकता, इतली तिडक लोकां भितर आसा.
आम आदमी पार्टीनं भंडारी समाजाचा मुख्यमंत्री जाहीर केला आणि 2 दिवसापूर्वी त्यांनी ST समाजाला विकासात म्हणा किंवा त्यांच्या मॅनिफेस्टो हे टक्केवारी जाहीर केली. यामुळे जातीयवादाला वाटतं असं वाटतं.
जे पार्टी सिरियसली इलेक्शन कॉन्टेस्ट करनात आणि ज्यांका फक्त हे वेगळे वेगळे इश्यू घेऊन हें करपाचें आसा, तांकां गोंयच्या लोकांनी ऑलरेडी उत्तर दिल्लें आसा गेल्या त्या विधानसभेक. आणि ह्या विधानसभेकूय लोक वोटिंग करता आसतना एंटी BJP वोट्स स्प्लिट जावची ना. लास्ट टाइम आमचे संकल्प आमोणकर पडलो 140 वोट्स बिकॉज आम आदमी पार्टी कॅन्डिडेट पोल्ड 243 वोट्स. So this time people are not going to split their votes. They want to defeat BJP, so they know who can defeat BJP. People know who can give alternate government, and people will decisively vote for Congress party.
So what is provision for this financial provision for this budget, annual provisions? And where is this money coming from? Because according to us, more than 75% funds goes for staff salary and electricity bills and utility bills. So how will you make provisions for this thing?
See, the budget of Goa is known. The size of the budget is known. The issue is about allocation of resources. I have found that the problem is never about finding resources. The problem is about allocating resources. There are 3 avenues for a state budget: government's own resources, share of central government revenues, and the central government grants. These are the 3 ways of raising resources for a state government. There's never been a problem. My experience is there's never been a problem about the source of funds. It's about the allocation of funds. If you have a wise hand, a thinking mind, and you allocate resources, all the problems can be, all the issues that we have highlighted in the manifesto can be achieved over a period of 5 years. And as you achieve them, government's own resources will also rise. For example, if Goa becomes a IT hub, a knowledge hub, a pharmaceutical hub, Goa's resources will multiply. if you implement sound tourism policies, Goa's resources will multiply. And if you resume sustainable legal mining, which we have promised, and we can do it, there is a way to do legal mining under the Supreme Court judgment. Goa's resources will improve. It's because you don't attend to the problems, revenues are depressed. More revenues will come and more allocations will be made. Every one of the promise that we have put in the manifesto is implementable and doable over a period of 5 years.
But most of the time, we have seen the governments in power come with PPP models, public-private partnership models, and government properties, government resources are outsourced to the private players.
What is public-private partnership originally? Public-private partnership means private resources to build public assets. That is the public-private partnership. Under Mr. Narendra Modi, public resources are being built, are being used to build private assets, which will be given to the crony capitalists. So he has turned public-private partnership on its head now. Public resources are being used to build private assets or assets which will be eventually privatized to his crony capitalists. That model we reject.
So you will not be doing all this public-private?
No, we will use private resources to build public assets. Let me repeat, private resources must be used to build public assets. You can't use public resources to build assets which will be privatized.
For example, with your money, you can build a beautiful bridge over here, this river. It will be a public asset. Your money will be there. Of course, you will get your repayment over a period of time.
I would also like to clarify the CM statement. He keeps saying that in 2012-13, Goa received only 500 crores from center, and after Modi came, they sent some 10 or 20,000 crores. So there, the CM should also tell, before 2012, did Goa really need funds from the center? It's because this government stopped mining, which is why we had to depend on center. And now that they are boasting that Modi is sending money every time, it's a fallacy. You choke our resources, you choke our revenue streams, and then you beg from the center, and then you claim the center is being generous to us, and that is why we should vote for you. So that's a complete fallacy, which I hope you are questioning, that before 2012, how were we surviving without central funds?
Anyway, Mr. Sawant also should read the Constitution. And Mr. Modi is not sending money. It's the right of every state under the Constitution to get a share of the central revenues. It is decided by the Finance Commission. So Goa's own resources is one thing, as I said. Second is our legal share of central government resources as decided by the Finance Commission. That is nobody's charity. It is not Mr. Modi's charity. It is not anybody's charity. The third is central government grants, which are again governed by the constitutional provision, grants in aid of revenue. It's called grants in aid of revenue. That's also the entitlement of Goa. If you're talking about a number today, 10 years ago it is 500. Today it is, say, 3,000. 10 years from today, 3,000 will be 25,000, it will be 20,000. It will only grow because the national income grows, the share of the states will grow. It is not the magic of anybody. There's no magician who is multiplying 500 into 3,000. It's simply applying the Constitution, the Finance Commission, and the grants and aid provision.
So when do you look?
I suggest he read the Constitution, on which he took an oath.
So when do you look like, if your government comes to power 10 March, when do you look like starting mining in Goa state?
We said that we will have a sustainable legal mining model ready in about a month or two, I think we have said. The model will be ready in a month, and then we will begin to implement it immediately thereafter. Legal mining will start, in my estimate, legal mining should start between 3 to 6 months after the government is formed.
Sir, in November last year, you addressed Panjim Congress block. There one suggestion was made to you by one of the workers where he said that you should seek an affidavit from candidates that they will not defect, and if they defect, then they should be liable to pay 100 crores. So responding to him, sir, you had said that affidavit is of no use. So what changed over this?
No. I didn't say affidavit is of no use. I said affidavit is of limited legal effect. I understand the usefulness of the affidavit. I also understand the limitations of the affidavit. So my words were limited legal effect, and we have applied our mind, consulted lawyers, and we have drafted an affidavit which has a certain legal impact.
Is that enough, sir, to prevent defections?
Well, nothing is enough unless the people of Goa decide to vote to stop defections. The moment you teach a lesson to a defector that he will not be elected in the by-election, then defection will stop. That alone will put an effect. The same candidate contests on one party, resigns or quits, and in the by-election he contests on the exact opposite party, and if the people vote for him or her, this disease will continue. This happened in Madhya Pradesh, this happened in Karnataka, this happened in Manipur. So we'll have to put an end to that by saying, if in the lifetime of an assembly, if you defect and contest the by-election, we will be defeated.
We're giving a soft copy to people.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now please cover, please cover Ms. Priyanka Vadra's tour tomorrow. You're all being invited. What do you want? Hold this, is it?
Yeah, there was just a photo.
But it's already released.
We already released it that day.
Already released it. All right. Somebody wants a picture. Okay. Have a picture. Have a picture. Have a picture.
LBC होत ना रे
Camera, mobile.
Okay. All right. Thank you.